Have you ever wondered what goes on in the daily life of a bladesmith, knife maker / YouTuber? Well, it starts off like this. Testing 1, 2. Got to get the mic hooked up first, get the light set up, then start looking at my projects. I'll try not to over edit this so you can kind of see what really goes on, how much time it takes. It's kind of be like a vlog, but I hope you find this interesting. So let's take a look at what I got going on. So I usually start my day by picking up and cleaning up a little bit. And I seriously need to do it today. I've done a lot of projects in the last couple of weeks that I've kind of let everything go, but I usually start from the front of my shop and come in here to the clean room. But I've got several projects to get ready for and to get started on. Got a knife show coming up. I've got a couple customers I got to get to before that. And so I got several things laid out here. These are my swamp spike pattern. I've got to get these cut up, get the handles ready to make for these blades that I also have to cut out. That'll all be stock removal. Oh, and I made this knife in the last video in 41 minutes. It's not something I'm going to sell, but it was just to make the video to show how fast I could make a knife. But it's improper heat treating. This is just a shop knife. Use it as a template. I already have a template, but that's what it'll be for. But I am going to be making some more of these. And we'll move over here to the other table. So again, my shop is a disaster, as you can see. This is my main workbench in the clean room, but I've got several things laid out here. I'm getting some folder blades, a couple stainless. I've got a couple high carbon steel blades. I've got some full tang that'll also be stainless. And I got to cut these two bars up of 1084 and 15N20 to make some Damascus billets and some knives that I'll be bringing to the show. So I've got a lot of work. This will take me a little while to prep. I have to cut these up, tack weld them up, put a handle on it and all that good stuff, but quite busy. And over here, I've got a template. This will be some forged knives out of mono steel. And I've got some handle material over here, various pieces that'll be for. So quite a lot laid out here. And also I'll be making some of my mosquitoes to bring to the show. So a lot of stuff, I'm waiting on some steel to come in, and then we'll get some more of this stuff ready to go. But I've got to go out in the shop, do some cleanup out there, and then I'll get this stuff laid out. So let's get in the shop. So more cleanup out here. A lot of sweeping I need to do this morning. I like to have my shop in good shape before I start work. Trash everywhere, all over the equipment. A lot of scraps just in the last couple weeks. A lot of picking up to do. It's like a never-ending process, but if I don't stay on top of it, it'll get out of hand. And I just can't work with a dirty shop, or at least one that I'm gonna trip over everything. But got something I want to show you that I'll also be doing some work with here in the next couple weeks. Really excited about this. This is my Gorton 3U pantograph. This thing was made in like 1940. It was a World War I machine used in World War II as well to do some engraving on military equipment, such as artillery shells, that kind of stuff. It's in pretty good shape. I had to make a stylus for it. Wasn't too hard. I used my lathe to do that. And I've got to replace the old belts. The belts are pretty worn, and I may be replacing the capacitor in that motor. So always some maintenance to do around here, but I'm very excited about this machine. Now I traded this for some knife instruction and this right here. It's a steak grill. So I built this for the guy that traded me for the machine, and even put him a little Gorky on there because he has several Gorkies, and I thought that was a nice touch. Anyway, he's got to come get that. Kind of rotates around. It lifts up and locks in place with that lock right there. Pretty cool. I like to have one myself. I need to build myself one. But he wanted something that'd get hot, fast, and I think that'll work. And it seems like there's constant maintenance in the shop. Every day I'm doing something. Replacing something broken, repairing something, or adding some light. I just added a new light in the shop. Check this out. They're bright, a lot brighter than these fluorescent lights in here. And I've got 3 of them. I've got 2 more right over here. One's still in the box. So constantly doing maintenance and repairs, that sort of thing. Right now, I'm gonna go back where it's cool because I have AC in there in the clean room and start laying out some of that steel, getting it ready to cut up. I'm waiting on the other steel to come in. So the delivery guy just got here. I wonder what this is. I'm gonna use my new shop knife to find out. I think I know what it is. Steel I've been waiting for. That would be right here. So I got a couple pieces of 1084 and some AEBL stainless. I never buy packing paper. I ship a lot of knives. I save every bit of it and I repurpose it. Anyway, it's time to start cleaning up some steel, and I've already got a couple bars laid out. I'll clean these a little later, set them to the side. Before I do that, I've got the packing slip here. 3 bars of steel, 2 bars of 1084, a couple different thicknesses, and a bar of AEBL. Delivered to the house, $100 plus 50 cents. So I like to clean my steel up before I cut it up. It's just more efficient. Why cut it up and then have to clean those individual pieces? Also, you risk the chances of rolling the edges. The other question is, do you really need to clean it up? It's not really that bad. Little mill scale. But I don't like to take chances when I'm spending $100 on steel. All right, got the pieces cleaned up, cut up, and ready to arrange. Really depends on the pattern that you're making on how you arrange these. I know that I'm going to be making a feather pattern with this billet. So I've got an extra thick piece here. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. And I may do some rearranging after I begin, but I'm basically alternating these. Oh, and talking about cameras a while ago. So my camera equipment is kind of outdated. Actually, this camera is borrowed. This is an old camera that only shoots in 1080, and you can tell by the quality. It doesn't have a good color profile. Yeah, I need another camera, so I apologize for that. I'm just waiting till I can save up for another one. That's how it is, and thank goodness for a good patron that's loaned me a camera. So after thinking about it a little bit, I just went ahead and added 2 more pieces of 15N20 instead of 1084. So I've got a dark core there that's thicker with 15N20 alternating with 1084 the rest of the way. I like for it to just be dark down the center if I can make it that way. Let's get it in the vise. I'll get it ready to weld up. It's hot in here. Right now it's about 94. Imagine if I was lighting up the forge right now. But I'm not. I'll do that early in the morning time. But what I'll do now is clean this billet up. So I just fuse the ends and I run a fuse across each side to hold together. I'm not worried about integrity here when I weld this billet up. I just want this to stick together until I get it welded. Sometimes I'll put sacrificial plates on here and gives me 100% security, but sometimes I'm just feeling confident and I'll just stitch it on the sides. But I will grind these off after the forge weld. But what I'm gonna do now is just clean it up and I'll stick it in a bucket of kerosene and it'll stay there until I forge weld this. Kerosene supposedly aids in forge welding by creating a soot layer in between the exposed layers and don't have to use flux. I still use flux when I have these sides exposed, but I do it while it's cold. I pull it out of the kerosene, I flux it right then, I stick it in the forge, and I don't pull it out till I'm forge welding. Steve Schwarzer told me, or taught me, he got onto me one day right here in my shop. He saw me pulling a billet out of the forge to flux it. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm fluxing it." He said, "Don't pull it out. You're risking oxidation." He said, "All it has to do is just drop a few degrees." And he's right. In between those layers, and you've got scale in there, trap scale. So I don't do that anymore. Thank you, Steve. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up, stick it in the kerosene, move on to the next chore. All right, I got that billet soaking in kerosene. I'm not gonna do any forging today. I'm already too hot. So I'm in here in the clean room where I've got some air conditioning. I'm going to be making some folders. I got a bar of AEBL here, and I'm going to be making some folder blades, my mosquitoes, and some drop points, as well as my swamp spikes. So these will all be stock removal out of this stainless steel. I will clamp them on here and scribe them, cut them out. I'll either cut them out early in the morning or after I do a forging session to get that billet forge welded. I like to do that very early in the morning, like at daylight when it's just hot. Get it forge welded, drawn out, cut up, cleaned up, and restacked for the next forge weld. And I'll have about 3 to 4 forge welds there. I think I'm gonna go up to like 230 layers on that billet. Once I get that drawn out, I'll probably get back on this, get all these cut out. In between that feather billet and these, got to juggle it around the heat. Now, one of the things I do a lot of is I keep scrap, even small pieces, but not really the AEBL stainless stuff. If it's too small, I get rid of it. But small carbon steel, I can use in canister billets. A piece like this, I'll make a folder blade. It's a piece of scrap. I got another one here that'll be a folder blade. I design my folders and most of my knives on a computer. And but especially folder blades, because I like to make sure they work before I start cutting them out and testing and all that stuff. I can make them work on the computer, and I can rotate the blade and that sort of thing. Then I print it out and then cut them out and use a spray adhesive and just stick it on there. I use a 3M spray adhesive, including the frames. These are going to be frame locks out of titanium. And I just got a delivery of titanium a while ago. I got an extra piece here, but these will be frame locks. I'm gonna get these marked up, but it's about time for me to shut this down. It's late and I'm getting hungry. I hope you kind of got an idea about the daily routine and some behind the scenes, not so scripted, of what goes on in the knife shop. And it's a lot. I still hadn't cleaned up yet. I need to do that. And I need to look at replacing some materials and that sort of thing. But if you got any questions, just leave them down in the comments. I want to thank my patrons, and I want to thank you for watching. And if you got any ideas for builds or anything like that, let me know down in the comments. I appreciate that. We'll see you on the next one.